Hey, what's going on? It's Jeff with 1023 XLC. My guest today, let me tell you, I've been watching my guests for quite a while do amazing things in the wrestling ring. And it's my honor to introduce to you Serena Deeb. Serena, how are you?
Jeff, thank you so much. It's an honor to talk to you as well, and I really appreciate your time. And thank you. That really means a lot. I appreciate you watching my work and appreciating it, and it means a lot to me.
Yeah, well, Serena, here's the thing. Like every time I watch you, I always see a stellar match. It's always a good match, like every time. And like I was talking with my wife last time I saw you wrestle, and I told her that exact same thing. I said, every time Serena Deeb comes into the ring, I'm going to see a good match. It's just how it goes.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
So with that being said, how do you feel about the current state of the women's division in AEW?
I mean, it's awesome. It's awesome. And it just keeps getting better. And looking forward to the future, I think there's some prospects on the horizon that are going to add to that. I think I'd put us right up there as the best. There's always these, wrestling fans are so funny now. It's like, who's the best? Who's the best? It's always in the dialogue, and um it's a funny conversation piece, right? But I think at this point with our division, Britt Baker, Jamie Hayter, we just got Mercedes Martinez, we just got Marina Shafir, who the world hasn't even seen what she can do yet, right? Like she was a
Yeah,
student of mine at the PC. All the love in the world for her. Like she's gonna do some amazing things. She's special. She brings a different element, something different that anybody's ever seen before. Um, and she's dedicated and disciplined and all these things. And we got Nyla and Sheeta and Riho and all the foundations of AEW, right? Like those were they were the ones there from the start, right? The Brits and the Riho and the Sheeta and the Nyla, and they're all still strong. We got Ruby Soho just added recently. Little Julia Hart, who has tons of potential. Sky Blue, tons of potential.
yeah.
A lot of young talent. Velvet, Red Velvet, and then of course TBS champion Jade Cargill. I mean, can you look more like a star than Jade Cargill? I don't know if it's possible. Uh, Tell me somebody. I don't know. I mean, like I was a huge China fan, so like, maybe like just appearance wise, like star presence. But Jade embodies that, and she's doing a great job. Like I feel like her progress, she's growing every match, and she's putting in the work, and she's obviously, just look at her. How disciplined is she? Add myself in the mix, and I think we have something very special. Um, Two great strong signings recently, a potential another one that I cannot mention on the horizon. Don't know if it's happening or not, but the speculation is
Oh,
there, so it's like I think our division is just I think it's already really strong, but the prospect of the future is, oh my gosh. Like, I mean, look at how many storylines there are with the women right now. Tony's giving us so much, and I think he really trusts us and is investing in the women, and I think that people are becoming empowered. Layla Hirsch, I left her off the list. I mean, there's a lot. Diamante, like there's so many in the locker room. Not to mention the veteran presence of Vicky Guerrero, who I respect so much and love, and it's a well-rounded, diverse group. Everyone brings a different style, and I think that there's just this potential that there's going to be some magic in the next year or two.
yeah, there's a lot of that magic already happening. As you keep going on through the list of names, I mean, you can keep going because I think when AEW first started, there were so many unknowns, a lot of wrestlers that people weren't familiar with, right? But now all of a sudden, this brand is building up, and there's a lot of it that's like on the back of the women's division. There's a lot of amazing, like you said, Jade Cargill, who's who's better than that? You know, where do you go from there? You know,
Yeah, I was asking her last week, how do I get your abs? Because I want that. um, and real quick side note, I totally left off the list Anna Jay, Ty Conte, Bunny, and Penelope. You know, they're so like. See, it's so easy to just leave people out because there's so many. I mean, it's a special locker room. It's a special roster.
for sure. Yeah, it's great to see everybody evolve. I've been following AEW since they started, even before AEW was AEW, with all the all out, all in, and everything like that. And it's just been great. It's amazing to see people evolve. You know, that's really it. And people win me over as well. You know, I'm always late to the game on a lot of different wrestlers, for whatever reason, and I don't know what it is. Wrestling fans are odd sometimes when it comes down to it, with their allegiances and how they feel about certain people. But
Sure,
if you're a great performer and you're great in the ring and everything else, then you end up winning. You end up winning me over. You know,
sure.
and that's definitely been the case with AEW. Now, is there someone on the women's roster that you feel people should pay more attention to?
I'm gonna trail back for a second because I also left Thunder Rosa off the list.
See, there's another one. It's
Yeah,
like,
like
how
there's
can
a
and
you
how can you
know,
forget about Thunder Rosa? You
I know
know,
it's like my mind is like pinging. It's like, oh, yeah, no, Thunder Rosa. I mean, man, we've had some matches that have been top favorites of my career, you know, of my entire career, 17 years in this business. And some of our NWA bouts are up there, you know, top 5 favorite matches for sure. Um, you know, that's a high quality, that's a top tier talent right there. Um, to answer your question, whew, it's hard to pick from all the ones I just mentioned, but I think don't sleep on Jamie Hayter. I think Jamie brings a very unique, you know, she spent a lot of time in Japan, so she's got that strong style ability. She has a presence to her, a look to her, a confidence to her. Uh, she's not afraid. Like she'll go hard, you know, like she'll go hard. You know, women's wrestling has come a long way since 15 years ago, right?
oh,
Jamie
absolutely,
Jamie
yeah,
Hayter's in that category of of strong, you know, hard hitting. She'll she's willing to go to that level.
yeah.
Mercedes Martinez, another one. Utmost respect. You know, we've been in the game for a very similar amount of time. I spent a lot of time on the indies with her, Shimmer, early days, WSU. You know, we've traveled the road together. Kind of just I'm so elated that she's getting an opportunity to be in such a great company after some of, you know, the ups and downs she's gone through over the years. She deserves it, and I think those are going to be two standouts this year for sure.
Awesome. So we have Serena Deeb, and of course, she is the woman of a thousand holds. Has done a lot for the business, and it's just great sitting here talking to you. I'm truly in awe. Like, seriously. Um, so one thing else I wanted to talk to you about. You know, your career. It's been a good career. You've had a great career. I think the longevity alone, speaks to like how great of a career that you've had, and you've made so many different strides. For women in the women's division. I mean, women's wrestling, like you said, 15 years ago was a lot different. You brought up something with Shimmer. It's very interesting because here in the Chicagoland area, Shimmer puts on a lot of shows, and um,
Yep.
we're pretty decent as far as indie wrestling is concerned. There's a lot of good indie promotions too. So since AEW is going to be here in Chicago for Rampage and for Dynamite on Wednesday, what are some of your feelings about wrestling in Chicago? Do you have any fond memories of wrestling in Chicago? Anything that comes to mind specifically?
Honestly, of all the places, I mean, if I exclude Japan because Japan is just kind of a different category of special, Chicago is probably most special for me because of Shimmer. I made my debut on volume 5. I think it was like, I can't remember the year, 2007 or something like that, you know? Um, and I don't remember what the last volume I wrestled on was because it's just like you lose count. There's so many. I mean, they're up to like, I don't even know, 40 something now, but you know, I was on so many of those shows and at the Berwyn Eagles Club right there in Berwyn.
Yeah.
Um, what a funny place that is.
It really is. It has so much personality, though, you know?
So much personality, and you can feel the history when you walk in there. And not too long ago, somebody sent me a picture of like the wall of fame that's still up there, that's like going up the staircase. And it's all the 8x10s of all the girls, of all the Shimmer girls that signed an 8x10 and put it on the wall. And there was mine, and there's, you know, everybody, Allison Danger, Sarah Del Rey, like you name it, Daphne, you know, bless her heart. Just all of those names over the years, all our pictures are still up there. Portia Perez, like it's pretty cool, you know, it hasn't been erased. And that I think, as stressful and painful as those weekends were, like physically, I mean, you would literally Monday morning you were walking through the airport, just body was broken, tired, like everything, because you had 4 matches in 2 days and 4 probably pretty hard matches. Even despite all of that, some of the best memories of my life, of my career, were Shimmer weekends. And much respect to Dave Prazak. I saw him get his flowers last week. You know, I watched the speech by Punk and everything, and he deserves it because he's somebody that always believed in women's wrestling, even when it was the Divas era, and people, you know, it wasn't necessarily getting to a mainstream audience, but Dave stood by his vision and he wanted that kind of women's wrestling, you know, great wrestling. And I just, you know, I have much praise and respect for him. And so, you know, wrestling in Chicago for me is always going to be special because of the Shimmer chapters. And you know, I love Chicago as is, but you know, the wrestling history there is very, very dear to my heart.
Very cool. All right, we're speaking with Serena Deeb. Make sure that you're following Serena on Instagram and Twitter. Serena Deeb. No underscore, no spaces. Serena Deeb. It's just that easy. So,
Pretty
Serena,
simple.
you were talking about leaving those matches and being sore on Monday. So, the longevity of your career, how are you keeping your body like intact? How are you able to go out there and still perform after, you know, all these years? I don't know how anybody takes a bump. I've never taken a bump. I never want to take a bump. That period of my life is totally over and done. But like, what is it that you do? Like, just how are you keeping yourself in such great shape?
You know, I got really into yoga over the years. I veered off a little bit, I'd say, over the past couple of years. I've kind of gone back more in the gym direction. But my workouts are very like, you know, fast moving, and you know, I try to train in a way that feels good. I don't follow any specific like bodybuilding routine or anything like that. I just train in a way that feels good. I burn my muscles out, and I know my limits. Like I know when to stop so that my body's still functioning, and that like, hey, if I have to wrestle tomorrow, like I might be a little sore, but I'm functional sore type of thing. Um, I do very regular cardio. I do almost 5 days a week, I'd say an hour of cardio, just to keep my joints, you know, healthy, lubricated, keep my cardio up, all that. But I spent about, it's hard to estimate now, but maybe 5 to 6 years of my life really engulfed in yoga. I did 2 teacher trainings. I was teaching in hot yoga specifically. You know, so the room is 105 degrees. You're
Oh,
sweating from the time you walk in, you're sweating, you know, like you can't bring enough water for those classes.
oh. Serena, that
Man.
sounds horrible.
Misery to you after you tell you living in Chicago and enjoying that climate, but I'm always cold, so being in like a hot room and my it just it I don't honestly like it lengthens everything, it stretches everything, and it I think it did taking I took a couple breaks from wrestling over the years, and I got really into yoga during those breaks, and I think that really helped my body recover. Um, and then on top of that, I mean, it's just like body work. I've had some really deep, like rolfing is something that a lot of people are unaware of. It's very deep tissue work. I've had a lot of that done over the years to just open up my body where it was kind of closed and tight and locked. And I think keeping up with that type of stuff is really good too. We have a great physical therapy team here in Orlando. Bryce Reddy, he's one of the lead PTs at AEW. He has a practice here, and anything you need, you go to him. He takes care of you. We have a great medical staff. I had some knee issues this year. AEW took great care of me, and did everything. I mean, like they went above and beyond to get me back, and now it's to the point where I honestly during the injury time, like could never envision running again, and like I'm running, I'm running without pain. It's with the right treatment program, with the right people around you, and with the right training and PT and all of that, like I believe you can bounce back from anything, and technology is improving, and medical technology and stem cells and all these things. So, but that's a long-winded answer, but simple answer is I think yoga did wonders for me in my life. And I'm really hoping my schedule is so crazy right now, and I keep saying yoga class, and then something comes up or whatever. But it's that's on the horizon as well to reconnect with that because my body feels great. I'm 35. I've been wrestling since I was 18, and I feel like I'm moving better than I ever have in my entire life. So, for anybody that's listening or that thinks that they're too old or they get whatever, there's an age cap, there's not.
Okay.
All right,
So,
Jeff, let's come in the ring with me. We'll take your first bump.
oh no, I can't even imagine. So yoga. I mean, do you think yoga would work like for someone like me? I mean, I'm 46,
Okay.
so I mean, I'm not an athlete by any means, but do you think yoga would work for me?
Yoga would work for anybody.
Okay.
I mean, there's a reason why DDP is so successful, like he's developed this program, it's entertaining because it's DDP as DDP and it's fun to watch and stuff like that, but his program's legit, and a lot of wrestlers like I think Jericho's done it.
Yeah.
But a bunch of people have done his program and gotten back. I have a few friends that have used his program and really and come back from some serious injuries and whatnot. But I think the key to anything is just starting slow and being patient because what happens with yoga is people get frustrated early on because it's really hard when you first start. Um, like when I first started practicing yoga, like I could breathe. I would hold my breath. I'd be in postures and I'd be like holding my breath completely, and then I'd have teachers say breathe, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm holding my breath completely just to muscle and hold it, so you gotta like it's a process of learning how to flow and breathe and move with your breath, and it's this whole thing. And then and do you ever perfect it? I don't know. I mean, do you ever perfect pro wrestling? No, you never really like you can strive for perfection, and that's a great goal and that's a great mindset, but like it's always going to be something. And then you discover in your body like what are the areas that are most tight? Where do I need to open up? Where am I holding patterns? Where am I tight? All these things, like it's a learning process, and it can, and the thing about yoga is it's very humbling. So the first time you get on the mat, even if it's for 10 or 15 minutes, you're probably gonna be cursing. You're probably gonna be frustrated because it's so much harder than people think if they've never tried it. But it is, if you commit to 3, 6 months, a year, not even every day, just a few times a week, like it's changed a lot of people's lives.
I think maybe that's the direction I need to go. I need to do something. I'm not a gym person by any means. I can't go
Sure.
to the gym and just put up a lot of weight and work on machines and stuff like that. It's kind of boring to me.
Yeah,
But
I
I
get
think
that.
that yoga, that might be the way to go. I think you sold me, Serena.
Yes.
Well, you said
And
especially if it's helping you, the way that you move in the ring, you said that you're moving, you feel better than you ever have, and you look just as good as you ever have in the ring as well. You're selling me on this, Serena.
well, thanks. Yeah, I mean, and the thing is there's so many different style. I could go on for yoga for an hour, so I'll keep it short, but there's so many different styles, and I mean, like, if you wanna start slow, go with yin yoga. It's gentle, you lay there in postures, and you don't have to there's not a lot of movement, but it's still opening up your fascia, and it's still doing something really, really deep for your those tight areas and everything, and it's just about the breath. And then once you learn how to control the breath, then you can take the next step up. Like, I would never suggest to a beginner, hey, hop into a power vinyasa 1.5 hour class, because they're probably going to walk out in 10 minutes because it's going to be impossible. You got to just like with anything, like, start small, start and build and build and build and build. And just be patient, and try to have compassion for yourself in the process, because like I said, it is frustrating and humbling, and but it's very rewarding when you reach a point where you're like, oh man, I'm flowing with my breath, like, this feels good.
Sounds great. Here with the professor of professional wrestling, Serena Deeb. AEW is going to be in town in Chicago at the Wintrust Arena this Wednesday. It's going to be a great time. It's going to be amazing, just like it is every time that AEW is in town. I haven't missed a show yet, and yeah,
Yes.
it's always so fun. Serena, so you were talking earlier about, we were listing different wrestlers on the AEW roster that um, that we like and everybody should know about and what have you. And you mentioned China earlier too as someone that you looked up to at an
Yeah.
early age.
Yeah.
So, I mean, with all the wrestlers that have been here, past and present, is there someone that you've never wrestled that you've always wanted to wrestle? I'm past or present.
uh yes. Mako Satomura.
Really?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. That's my number one. I mean, if we're tossing around names of, like, people I would love to wrestle, like Mickey James, obviously, but I've wrestled Mickey. I'd love to wrestle Mercedes again. I'd love to wrestle Ruby. We never have. But
Really?
yeah, yeah, yeah. We've always missed each other, timing and whatnot.
Okay.
But yeah, but Mako is top of the list. That's like a dream match for me. I think she's on another level, and obviously we are in different companies, but I have a lot of respect for her, and I think in the ring, I mean, there's almost no one that can touch her on the female side.
Very cool. I didn't expect such a quick and easy answer to that question.
I
All
think I
right.
have
So,
I dreams about that match, so that's probably
no, good deal. Now, with all the different matches that are out there nowadays, I hate using the word gimmick matches, but I mean, I guess other than just a conventional wrestling match, are there any matches that you really enjoy?
um, yeah, I have a very old school wrestling mindset.
Okay.
So, a lot of the no DQs and these things, like, I have respect for it. I'll be entertained by it, but it's not so much my cup of tea. I'm more traditionalist in the way of like a 2 out of 3 falls match or an Iron Man or Iron Woman match. Something that is a little bit more traditional wrestling, is a little bit more my flavor. I can respect and appreciate, different sorts of matches, but I would say those more traditional old school matches, I've done in my career, I've done 2, hour Broadways, and super proud of that and super wanna do more of them. Takes a lot of cardio to get through something like that, but, I think honestly, that might be the top one, the 1 hour Broadway, you know, and that's coming from my roots from OVW, Rip Rogers. I mean, when I was training with Rip, like the ultimate test was, can you lead somebody? Can you get through an hour Broadway? And if you could get through the hour Broadway and tell a great story, like you kind of were you were leveled up. You were the next level, right? So
Yeah,
I don't know, that's ingrained in me from that old school training, and I just think that, I really respect that match.
very cool. Yeah, I respect those too. You know what? It's as wrestling changes and evolves. My love for wrestling has been very cyclical throughout the course of my life. You know, I have years where I don't watch it and I haven't watched it. You know, once I had my kids and they got into it, then I was hooked again, and I've been hooked
Mm,
ever since. You know, for the last like 15 years, and I don't see it going away because there's new promotions and there's a lot more things that are changing. There's more choices. You know, I can now I'm going to indie shows. You know, if I would have went to indie shows as a kid, I think things would have been a lot different. So
sure.
your overall love for wrestling, where did that kind of come from?
Childhood. I started, okay, so I'll make this quick, but I started watching wrestling when I was about 11. Attitude Era, WWF. I was a pure WWF girl. Like now I watch a lot of WCW, especially Brett, in the Brett years, but I was like at that age, I was of this like stubborn mentality of no, I can only support one company. I was so like I was all WWF, right, during the Monday Night Wars and everything. But my two of my closest guy friends from when I was a kid that got me into wrestling because they were into it before me. And they convinced me to watch it one night. And I was a tomboy and I was all into sports. And it like clicked immediately. Like, and then especially like seeing China and DX, like, with DX and everything, like I was just like, whoa, like I can get into this. This is my vibe of thing. So from there, it took off. I mean, it became an obsession immediately. 11, 12 years old. I was buying the Idiot's Guide to Pro Wrestling book and looking at all the schools, at that time, like the Samoans still had the school. There was UPW out in Cali. There was OVW. I mean, there were so many different places. Ultimately, obviously decided on OVW, but like, I mean, I was doing my research as a teenager of where I
Wow.
wanted to go as soon as I turned 18. Um, and just the quick turnaround to that or circle back is last week we were in DC and I wrestled on Dynamite, or no, 2 weeks ago, sorry.
Hmm.
Or was it last week? It's hard to keep track.
Yeah, 2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago, yeah, we were in DC, my hometown. And those two guys, my two childhood best friends that got me into wrestling, were in the second row, and I didn't know where their seats were, but like on my entrance, I got into the ring and I turned towards like the camera, and I just see their two faces amongst an entire sea of people. Their faces just stuck out because they were, like, screaming so loud, and, like, it was such a cool full circle life moment for me to have the 2 people that were responsible for, like, saying, "Hey, just watch this wrestling show with us tonight," and then boom, I fell in love, boom, I became obsessed. That was it, it took off. Um, neither of them even keep up with wrestling anymore, you know. I mean, they've got families, like kids, whatever. But for them to see me wrestle in DC and be second row, it was like really special. So yeah, classic childhood dream story. Little tomboy girl, just like, you know, watching China and Lita and just like, oh yeah, yeah, this is my future.
Yeah, that's so cool. Now, DC has a lot of, when people talk about DC, it's mostly the people think about government and stuff like that, but there's so much culture that's in DC too. I mean, what was it like just growing up in DC?
It was awesome. I mean, I grew up in suburbs of Northern Virginia, so 20-25 minute drive from DC, right around the
Okay.
corner, you know. But you know, DMV, DC Metro, or DC, Maryland, Virginia, that's what the DMV is. So that
Hmm.
whole kind of area. Um, it was honestly, I couldn't have chosen a better place to grow up because I grew up with so much history. Like it was on a weekend, you know, my mom could drive me down and I could just see the White House or the Washington Monument or the Capitol or the Pentagon or the Jefferson Lincoln Memorial, like walk on the lawn, all these things. These were all normalized in my youth. And there's, you know, I still encounter people now in my 30s that have never been to DC, have never seen the monuments, have never done, and I feel spoiled. Like I saw them all the time. I mean, you know, I did 4th of July at the Washington Monument. Like I did, you know, I but with that being said, like it's still really special for me to go and see all those places. I when I was there, I on our off day, I actually went to the Exorcist steps and I like filmed a video there and I ran the steps and that was one of my favorite spots to hit when I was in high school. Like I would go to Georgetown, I would get like a coffee at Starbucks or whatever, and then I would walk up and down Georgetown, and then I would go to the Exorcist steps because they were just so iconic and just cool vibe, cool, you know, like wow, what it was one of the most historical movies of all time was filmed right here. One of the
Yeah.
scariest, arguably scariest movies of all time, like was filmed right here, you know. So just a lot of memories, you know, I rented a car when I was there driving over the bridges and just seeing all the views and oh, I stayed in that hotel one time and I went there one time and oh, I remember this memory with this friend and this and this and uh I mean DC is such an amazing city. I still have a lot of friends there and they love it and they'll probably never leave and I see why. And yeah, culturally speaking, I mean, you know, it's it's a really special city. I mean, there's a reason why it's like DC, New York, LA, you know, Chicago, like there's there's categories where these cities are elevated, right?
Hmm.
Food, architecture, history, culture, you know, public transport, like whatever, you know, you could add to the list in so many different ways. And yeah, great. Yeah, just growing up in that area was really special. And then the schools in that area, you know, the education I received in middle and high school, Fairfax County Public Schools is like I think at one point it was ranked like top. It was like third in the country as best schooling system. So I was really lucky to receive such a great education. And yeah, just yeah, grateful for my upbringing in that area.
That's so great to hear. That's like very refreshing. Yeah, one thing that I'm learning about you, Serena, is that you're just extremely grateful, and your success is obvious because of that, because of all your gratitude. You're very gracious, and you're extremely humble too. So I mean, it's just very refreshing to hear that and to see that.
I appreciate that. Thank you so much, Jeff. I
Yeah, no
do.
problem at all. So it's Serena Deeb, AEW Dynamite Rampage in Chicago this Wednesday. Now, just to kind of close things out here, Serena, what can we expect from Serena Deeb in 2022?
2022 is starting off awesome. I feel like I feel like I'm at the top of my game right now, but like I'm not satisfied. And you know, I always say in my social media posts, like I'm ready for the next level. I'm hungry. Like I genuinely from the heart mean those things. Like from my core, like I'm not even close to where I want to be. Uh I I still train very regularly, especially now that, you know, my knees feeling great and everything. Um I'm in an acting class right now. I'm trying to step up my game in that area. I I'm teaching myself video editing right now, so I've put out 2 videos. I'm learning on iMovie. I'm about to buy Final Cut, start, you know, level up there. So I want to start just like creating my own content. You know, AEW's been very like gracious in giving me the opportunity and trustful and giving me the opportunity to coach and produce there. So I just want to keep you know, it's not even checking off boxes, it's just adding more strengths, right? Like I want to become the best wrestler in the world. I want to become a fantastic video editor that can put out my own videos anytime I want with no one else's help. Um, and you know and rely on myself for those strengths. I'm, you know, the acting class and working on promos and speaking and character development and all these things. I'm constantly taking notes. I have my laptop with me at all times, constantly writing down things that come to my mind. uh, Another big goal of mine is I really want to open Deeb's Dojo, my wrestling school. I have a huge vision for, you know, what I can do. I've been teaching more seminars recently, and I can say um, my in-ring career is far from over. I am nowhere near being ready to be done in the ring. There's like I got a lot more fuel in the tank, a lot more. But you know, I have a vision of a wrestling school, and every time I teach and coach, I have such a my heart is so full afterwards, like genuinely, that it's something that um, I feel will be a part of my future. Absolutely. I have the logo designed, I have the website domain, I have all that stuff, you know. So I have a lot of goals on my list for this year, and I just want to keep working on self improvement as well. You know, because it's easy in the entertainment business to get wrapped up in you know, your wrestling career or your acting career or whatever your art is, but um, keep working on self improvement, trying to step up in different areas, and just become the best version of myself I can be, and give back. At one point, you know, I left the wrestling business for 2 years because I was in such a like a dark place with it. Like I had to step away for a little bit, and now I feel like all the things I'm doing, it's like I have no doubts. This is probably going to be the rest of my life. I hope in one role or another, whether it's I'm editing videos or I'm coaching or I'm producing or I'm wrestling or I'm doing this. I I see wrestling as this is the calling on my life. It's been on my heart since, like I said, 11 years old, and the visions just keep expanding, and that's what I'm like really I'm appreciating about this time in my life, um is that new things keep coming. And yeah, I think 2022 Owen Hart Cup, dude, come on, man.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
know, you know, I'm going all in on that. That's I'm obviously a huge fan of the Hearts and their work and their style and everything. So AEW Women's Title, TBS Championship, come on. You know, I'm coming after everybody right now. So stay tuned.
yeah. Beware, Serena. Thank you so
Beware.
much for your time. This was absolutely awesome. Wednesday night when I'm at Dynamite, if I see you, I'm going to yell. I don't expect you to hear me, but I can project my voice pretty far. Just know that it's me. If you hear somebody that's just yelling your name,
It's Jeff.
that's me. Yeah, just like,
Okay.
oh, that's Jeff. You'll have that
Okay.
same moment like when your friends were there in Virginia, but only,
Yes.
you know.
I would love it. I would
Well,
love it.
Serena, hey, I have to say thank you. Thank you so much for all that you've done, what you continue to do, and what you're going to do in the future, because you just have the right mindset. And I know that there's great things that are still to come. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Jeff. I truly appreciate your time and your great questions and conversation.
Yeah, it was great to hang out with you. Thank you again.
Likewise. Thank you.